In other news, pedophiles convicted of offences in this country ought to be subject to a UK accredited and approved rehabilitation program for sexual offenders. This from child protection advocacy group SCARS, who welcomed the news of 30-year-old Collie Smith being sentenced to 11 years imprisonment for blackmailing two young children and child pornography offences, the first case of its kind in Bermuda. Founder and executive director Debbie Ray Rivers has called for enhanced protections for children from risks associated with repeat offenders.
What we do know about child sexual abuse is those who commit sexual crimes against children, they are manipulative and they use trickery. They do, to lure victims. Because, Mr. Smith, in our personal view, I can tell you he is a high risk to the children of this country, in our opinion. And we are not aware of the tests used by the authorities responsible for providing the risk assessment to the courts, but we are grateful to the court. What we have been told is that the Healthy Sex Program, HSP, is the only program identified for offenders who have committed sexual offenses against children. If there is evidence that someone has a sexual interest or sexual preference for children, HSP is the program that targets sexual interest and sexual preference for children. And it is facilitated, I know, in the UK on a one-on-one basis with a psychologist. Our hope is that he receives this program before he is released. Because I can tell you in the UK, it is extremely unlikely that those that commit sexual crimes against children will be released without having completed this specific program.
And are we certain that these offenders are subject to it here in Bermuda? Has that been mandated?
I don't think so. As far as I know, and Bermuda Broadcasting can do their own research, but I don't think the Healthy Sex Program is here in Bermuda as yet. But our hope is that it will be.
Ms. Ray Rivers said she trusts the courts to impose strict measures on sex offenders, especially when digital media and electronic devices are featured in those crimes.
Our hope is also, Jasmine, that he will be prohibited from using applications that delete browsers. He will be restricted from having a device with a camera function. I mean, what he did was very serious. He should never be found with child porn again. And we believe that, and we feel that if he does not comply with the risk management team's requirements, and I'm sure this will be their requirements, he'll be automatically recalled back to Westgate. I also want to remind the public that children should never be considered willing participants when it involves sexual acts with adults. Never. Why? Because they're children, right? And we as adults are their stewards. We are. Our job is to love children, and our job is to keep them safe and protected